So when you're playing chords or rhythm guitar or solo fingerstyle guitar on the blues, one thing you can do to make things more interesting is to change up the way that you're playing the chord progression itself. As long as it still reinforces the underlying structure of what the blues chord progression is supposed to be, there are a lot of variations that are possible. Now, I'm going to show you a few ways to get from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, just focusing on the first 4 bars of the blues form. I'm going to do it in the key of E, and these are moves that I pretty much swiped from jazz piano players and then applied to playing fingerstyle blues. But you could just as easily take these moves and operate in reverse and play them in closed position in a key like F or B flat and use them as accompaniment moves, rhythm guitar moves in an ensemble context. So we're going from E up to the 4 chord, A. And so ordinarily you'd have a bar of E, maybe a quick 4 to A, then back to E, and then somehow or other you'd get up to the 4 chord in bar 5. So here are 3 alternative ways to do it. I'll just play the first one and then I'll explain what the chord voicings are and like that. So for this first one, we're going to have E and then walk up like this. I got this from the playing of pianist Ray Bryant, and he did it with kind of a 12/8 feel. So and so what's going on is we start off with just a measure of E, then in measure 2 we go to the 2 chord, F sharp minor, and then flat 3 diminished with a G diminished chord. And then in measure 3 we go to another E chord, this time with the G sharp in the bass, the 3rd in the bass. So we've got 4th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret, and then to an A7 chord, using the open string because we can, but you could voice it this way. Got open 5th fret and 6th fret. And then B minor 7, 7th fret all the way across. And then E7 with B in the bass, the 5th in the bass. So that's the 7th fret, 6th fret, and 5th fret. So that's one way to do it, and then from there you land on the A chord. Another way to do it sounds like this. We start off here. You don't have to use the open string ringing out on top. You could just have the basic fingerings. Now these voicings come basically out of the style of Freddie Green, who played rhythm guitar with Count Basie for about 50 years. And played in closed position, you would strum them, and all the chords are voiced on the 6th, 4th, and 3rd string. And so you play them in a way that you are muting all the other strings. So it translates, immediately from fingerstyle over to this more kind of ensemble style. But so what we've got here is an E7 chord, open string, open 4th string, and 1st fret on the 3rd string, and then this E over G sharp chord again, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret, A7, now an A sharp diminished. You'll see a lot of these diminished shapes coming around over and over again as passing chords. So 6th fret, 5th fret, and 6th fret. And then an E7 with B in the bass, so 7th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret. And then this is either a C diminished chord, you could also see it as an F7 with the 5th in the bass that's kind of half stepping back onto the E flat, the E7 chord. But from here, instead of going to E7, we first go to B minor 7, 7th fret all the way across, and then a B flat 7, which is a trident. tritone substitution for E, and it's half stepping onto the A. So again, from the beginning we have another way to get from 1 to 4. This last example comes from something that I first heard on a Duke Ellington record called Piano in the Foreground. And he's going through a handful of choruses on the blues, and for one chorus he drops in this set of substitute chord changes that just sounds fantastic. And it's basically this. So you're in E, so we've got E, G sharp 7, C sharp minor 7, C minor 7, B minor 7, B flat 13, and A. And in order to see how it works, you have to kind of work backwards and say that, well, we're basically trying to get to A. That's where we're resolving to. Now the E chord, which is, we're in the key of E, right? But E also happens to be the 5 of A7. So E7 resolves to A as a 5-1. Now you're just sort of thinking of A temporarily as a 1 chord because that's where we're resolving to at the beginning of measure 5. So you say, okay, well, if this is 5 to 1 temporarily, what would 2-5-1 be? What's the 2 in the key of A minor? Well, in the key of A, well, it's B minor. So B minor to E to A7 works, has a strong resolution. That's why even though there is no B minor 7 in E, the key of E, we can grab it and use it because it's justified by the fact that when you finally get to the A, you're like, oh, that was a 2-5. So that works. Now before that, we had the C sharp minor chord, and that actually is in the key of E. So we can go to the C sharp minor as kind of a substitute for E because it's in the key. And then we can move, once we can play C sharp minor and we can play B minor, we can connect them chromatically. So that's all good. And prior to that, if we're going to go to a C sharp minor, we can say, well, what is the 5 of C sharp minor? We want to have a strong resolution to the C sharp minor. Well, if C sharp minor was 1, G sharp 7 would be the 5 of C sharp minor. So that's why, starting on E, we can jump to this chord that doesn't belong in the key, G sharp 7, because it resolves to C sharp minor, which resolves chromatically to B minor, which is part of a 2-5 onto the A, which just leaves the fact that we're not really playing E, we're playing B flat 13 after the B minor. And we can do that because if we were playing E, here's the 3rd and the 7th of E. And if we play B flat 7, here's the flat 7 and the 3rd of B flat. So B flat is what's called a tritone substitution for E because it shares this tritone interval, and also because the root is a tritone away from E to B flat. So that's how we justify this entire set of moves. The 1 chord up to G sharp, which is the 5 of C sharp minor, which is in the key as a substitute for E, which connects chromatically to B minor 7, which is the 2 of A, into a tritone substitution for E, which resolves to A. So, good old Duke Ellington, that guy knew what he was doing. So that's 3 ways to get from the 1 to the 4. You can use it in a fingerstyle context, you can use it with Freddie Green chords, you can use it any other way you can think of. I hope you have some fun working on those, and I'll see you next time. For Fretboard Confidential, I'm David Hamburger. Thanks for watching.